Good morning, everybody. Clint Remington, Operations Section Chief Trainee with Southwest Team 2. So I'll cover yesterday's update and the plan for today on the KNP complex. So for today, I'll start out down here on the southern end, Division Charlie. Active night 2 nights ago. I talked about yesterday those downhill pushes. So fire is across the river in a couple, across Mineral King Road in a couple parts, still holding north of the east fork of the Kiowa. So activity yesterday was pretty mellow after that push, and last night throughout the night, talking to night shift folks, it was the same story. They're trying to figure out points where they can access it. Hopefully today we can utilize some aircraft bucket drops with the crews and try to check all this spread and basically pin it between the river and Mineral King Road there. So that'll be the plan today. They're still looking at trying to access some of this to go direct with the hotshot crews and engine folks and aircraft and work together to try to limit any further east spread in Division Charlie or above or east towards Mineral King. So coming over into Silver City and Mineral King, CAL FIRE is staffing both of those communities. In 24 hours, they'll have a presence in there. The big challenge will be the work to make sure the road access is good, and we've got the heavy equipment and things we need to make sure that the folks have access in and out of there. So still a lot of attention in Silver City and Mineral King. So we'll continue to have those as priority values for sure. Out in here yesterday in Division Echo, pretty mellow fire behavior, not a whole lot going on out there. The good thing today is the weather is going to start shifting, being a little more cooperative. So we're supposed to start getting some higher humidities, potential for some rainfall, hopefully towards the end of the week, which will be a huge help. So we'll keep an eye on the weather and kind of make some plans based on that, but we won't plan everything based on the weather forecast. That's what it is. It's a forecast. So we kind of plan for worst case scenario, but hopefully that'll start to come to fruition for us. So still looking at opportunities to check this spread here towards Atwell Grove. So Division Charlie is very beefed up, very staffed up, good coordination with CAL FIRE, and we'll continue to be very busy in Division Charlie. Coming up towards the Division Echo Lima Gulf break. If we do have some clear air today, we've been working with resource advisors in the park. We will try to continue the gel mission. We just have been super smoked out the last couple days, so it's pretty tough on those pilots to see where they're putting bucket drops. But we'll continue to try to run protection on identified trees where needed out in the Redwood Meadow Grove out to the east. Let's see, coming back in towards Lima Gulf, there was some continued activity yesterday right in here south of Morro Rock. So what we've had is the Lima Gulf resources in there with some strike teams of engines and folks looking at this piece here. They've tried to go direct on that. They're doing pretty good, but we'll also be looking at some contingency line between drop point 52 and 50 on the south end of the Giant Forest Grove, where that's had a lot of attention prior to us getting here for the last 9 or 10 days we've been here. So we'll continue to have that in place. Should fire want to wrap around and start edging towards the grove, we will try to herd it away by firing operations, strategically putting fire down on top of that ridge line to try to herd it away around the Forest Grove. But still feel really good about the Giant Forest Grove. The General Sherman has been wrapped and prepped, and that's all in very good shape as well. So feel pretty good about this plan. We'll continue to try to do what we can to stop the spread altogether down in here if they're successful. But we will have plans in place should that want to square up and come out a little bit. We'll herd it south is the plan. So coming around into a Lodgepole, Waxahachie, all that is still very good. That's still solid containment line there. The structure group will continue to have a presence in Lodgepole, and there's not much left to do out there, to be honest, but other than have a presence and be ready should something happen. So we will continue to have resources identified in Lodgepole. Up here towards the Papa Break, fire behavior, again, very mellow in here yesterday. Not a lot for movement. It's in that scabbier, rockier terrain, so the fire's kind of found what it's gonna do, and basically just skunk around up in here. No big sustained runs or anything according to the modeling, the F bands and all that. So we'll continue to watch that, but pretty confident that this is all going to stay in place coming over to our containment line here. So coming around into Division Papa and Sierra, yesterday was a very busy day, very strong north winds with relative humidity that was very low. So it was a challenging day for fire folks on the ground out there. We've spent a lot of time on the General's Highway coming down basically from this Quail Flat all the way down to Stony Creek Lodge, between Montecito, Far Horizon, San Joaquin, Stony Creek. There's been a lot of preparations done to make sure we've got those in pretty good shape, and that operation will continue. We'll still have strike teams of engines in there. They had some activity yesterday just west of Cabin Creek in here that came across the Generals Highway with the pretty extreme fire behavior. So folks disengaged there for a little bit, and then they went back in, and they're looking at opportunities to go direct and try to piece some of this together and get that checked back in and tucked in. So this hopefully today will be caught and checked up, and life will be good. Coming around to the north end of Generals Highway, did have, like I said, some pretty serious fire behavior coming across here yesterday. Quail Flat still in pretty good shape, coming around to drop point 70. Generals Highway is still intact there. This piece of hand line that comes down from Montecito, the intent there was to try to keep fire west of that hand line to keep it from impacting any of these camps here. Still a valid plan, still what we're shooting for, but conditions changed on us a little bit yesterday. So they are looking at a secondary line, which has been identified. And you can see the dozer line started and what folks have been doing in there, connecting Big Baldy around to the fire's edge here that's been cold for a couple of days in that Stony Creek, and try to get this pieced off so we can still utilize the hand line and still keep fire from impacting any of this to the north up by Generals Highway. So that plan's still ongoing. A lot of folks and resources in there engaging that, putting that work in. So hopefully that'll get finished up today. Where we had the significant run yesterday was right here just west of drop point 72, between the Park Service towers and Quail Flat. Came across super hard, 55 to 60 mile an hour winds pushing fire across there. So folks had to scatter a little bit there. Everybody's good, but went back in once that had done its thing and fire kind of mellowed out. They've got a pretty good plan in place working with the locals, identifying this road system up here, a Big Whistle 1309, and they're going to piece this together and basically build a catcher's mitt out here to have this ready for if fire comes out again. So we will look at trying to go direct if we can in some of this where it's feasible, but this plan will be going as well just as a secondary should we need it, get it tied back into the Generals Highway on both sides. Grant Grove and Wilsonia, that's been staffed up for a couple days. Multiple strike teams of engines overhead. They have been in here. They'll continue to be in there, setting up pumps, hose lays, probably upwards of 20 fire engines in there now. They're just identifying structures, making sure they know where everything's at, what little bit of work can be done to help improve the situation in there. They're feeling pretty good about Wilsonia, pretty defendable. But ideally, we're going to keep the fire out of Wilsonia, but we will be ready if something changes there. So the General Grant tree, a lot of work going on there. They've been working directly with Park Resource Advisors, so they feel very good about the General Grant, still in good shape. Probably a wrap show in there today, putting wrap around it, but they're feeling very, very good about everything up here in Grant Grove, Wilsonia. So they'll be busy in there today. Coming down into Division Uniform, still having the structure group in Heartland. Most of the push yesterday, like I said, was up to the north, but that doesn't mean things won't change. So we still have a very heavy presence of engines and overhead in the Heartland area. They'll continue to staff that and make sure Heartland's secure and in good shape should something happen. You can see this little bit of red out here yesterday. That was off of our dozer line that we had in place coming up Pierce Redwood Mountain. So this is all in. They burned a little bit of it last night to just make sure we didn't have anything weird come out on us here. That was all successful. They'll continue working this down, patrolling, monitoring, and getting down to 77 and connecting those dots to straighten this piece out here. So that is still our intent, is to try to keep that fire east of the dozer line we've got in here. So that operation will continue. Coming down further south into Uniform, towards this branch break here. They're still looking at opportunities to keep this edge. There is still some heat down here towards the branch break, so they'll continue looking at opportunities to try to keep this squared up and in place where we need it. We really don't want the fire footprint increasing any further to the west. So the slop I talked about the other day, this was our primary. It did get across that Esham Point, so we talked about this a day or two ago. Very successful. Crews got that wrapped around back into itself, so that was a good stroke to buy us some time to get all this connected in here. So solid operation there. They had better winds yesterday. It was a little more at their back. You know, they didn't have the adverse winds just east to west pushing them super, super hard. A little bit of it last night, but they did okay. No spot fires or anything to be concerned about at this point on this west side of the fire. Coming down into X-Ray Zulu, we'll continue to work in here today. They did get this whole dozer line connected yesterday down to H90. A little bit of firing in here to get this squared up, so they'll close that pocket out today. But a very big focus today on making sure up above the community of Three Rivers, Ash Mountain, that we're doing a solid job in here trying to make sure this doesn't spread any further. This H92 down to Shepherd Saddle Road you see here, that'll be a focus today, making sure this is all still in really good shape. We'll be utilizing drone UAS to go look for infrared, make sure we've got heat identified in here, and if there's anything we can do to mitigate that. But this will be in place should we need to back off and utilize Shepherd Saddle Road coming in to keep the fire north of Three Rivers and Ash Mountain. Like I've been saying, you know, Three Rivers, prior to us getting here the last 10 days, there has been a ton of work in Three Rivers. So still feel very good about the community. There's lots of resources assigned in there. They'll continue to do that and really try to, like I said, limit any fire spread to the west there that would impact any of that. But still feel very confident about Three Rivers. Coming down into Division Alpha, Mineral King Road has still been a huge priority here, making sure that this road is open. It's as blown out as we can get it. Nice solid holding feature. But that being said, the folks that have driven it, the folks that live here, you guys know that's a very tough road to hold firing, which was very evident when we got the solid downhill pushes yesterday. So it's one of those things we'll do our best to make sure this is still in place. You know, not a lot of heat up in here for the last multiple days, looking at IR, satellite imagery, talking to the drone folks that have flown this. We still feel very good about all this out to the east of Ash Mountain here. So this is going to continue to get monitored. Folks will get in there where they can and keep kind of working this stuff where you can see the dozer line ends. But feel very good about the stuff north of Three Rivers and Ash Mountain. So very couple fluid, dynamic days. The crews are doing outstanding, making good decisions, being safe, but still trying to be aggressive where we can. Got quite an influx of resources from the Windy Fire yesterday, so that was a big help. Starting to get beefed up a little bit bigger so we can spread out a little bit more and utilize those crews and strike teams of engines and be a little more flexible. So that's your update for today. Appreciate all the support again, and thanks, and have a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow.